Wait a second. That actually kind of looks like... No, this isn't Demon Souls. No. Wait a second. No. No. They're not doing this to me. Oh my god! Oh my god, they did it. Oh my god! Oh my god. Not only is Demon Souls coming to the PlayStation 5, but it is a full-on remake instead of a remaster. Dark Souls Remastered is an utter shambles. Now I know that sometimes people are confused about what a remake is versus a remaster, but basically, instead of simply porting over the game with better lighting or textures, this will be a remake that's rebuilt entirely from the ground up. I don't ever make videos like this, but I just have so much joy and excitement in my heart for this game and this announcement that I wanted to share it with you all and talk about it. So let's start with the obvious. This game looks incredible. Just look at the side-by-side comparisons. Bada bing, bada boom. RTX off, RTX on. Eeny, meeny, miny, oh shit, damn. Like, this looks incredible, right? Do you understand my excitement? Like, it looks great. I love it. However, for the sake of being fair, some people have pointed out that they feel like the original tone of the game has been compromised, most notably when pointing out shots like this and saying that the remake looks too bright in comparison. As someone who is a huge fan of the oppressively bleak tone that the original game has, I can see where they're coming from, but I ultimately disagree with the conclusion. Yes, this one area specifically looks brighter, but I feel like it's more in line with the original vision of the game that wasn't able to be fully realized on the PS3. I think evidence of that can be seen with how dark and moody the other areas of the trailer are. In fact, I think several areas are noticeably darker and moodier than the original. So while yes, the tone might be slightly different, I generally consider it to be an upgrade across the board. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see the final version, but I'm currently pretty optimistic that the developers will handle the dark tone of the game with care. Speaking of the developers, the Demon Souls remake is being developed by Bluepoint Games, who you may know as the guys who remade Shadow of the Colossus back in 2018. Now, I've never personally played the remake, but based off the footage I've seen and other people's impressions, I think Demon Souls is in pretty good hands. Now let's go back to the game announcement itself. Moments before the game trailer was shown off, there was actually a really big hint that I didn't catch at first. This man, Mr. Yoshida, was the head of Sony's product development at release, and he absolutely hated Demon Souls when it first came out. He famously said, "This is crap. This is an unbelievably bad game." Now, he obviously later went on to do a complete 180 of this opinion, but at the time, it's important to remember that this opinion of the game wasn't exactly uncommon. Before Miyazaki joined the project, who you may know as the guy who directed all these games, the development of Demon Souls was considered a failure by the company. Getting to lead a project like this was the perfect storm to create a weird, innovative, and boundary-pushing game. And that's exactly what happened. Demon Souls went absolutely wild with its novel ideas. Even today in 2020, Demon Souls stands among the rest of the series as a game that is absolutely still worth playing due to how aggressively unique it is. And that's what I want to spend the rest of this video talking about. Why you should care about Demon Souls. I know for a fact that a good 80 to 85% of you watching this video have not played this game. And that's a damn shame, because if you truly understood what you've been missing out on, you would have played it already. And I get it. Demon Souls didn't explode into the mainstream in quite the same way that Dark Souls did. So maybe some of you just assumed that Demon Souls wasn't worth playing, or that it aged poorly, or that it's simply a less refined version of the rest of the Souls series. I'm here to tell you that that's simply not the case. So let's get into why Demon Souls is good, why it's unique, but also acknowledge and critique its shortcomings to explore how the remake could potentially address those in the future. Real quick though, I want to address the question that I think is on everyone's mind who has played the game. How much is going to change? Now that we're in remake territory, the sky is basically the limit in terms of how much the gameplay and mechanics could be altered. And it's worth pointing out that, for better or worse, Demon Souls has a lot of jank. Some of it's good jank, some of it's bad jank, and a lot of it's middle jank. To give you some examples, in terms of good jank, we have this wonderful icon for the cat ring that reduces fall damage. In terms of bad jank, we have things like the stupidly slow ladder climbing speeds. I gotta hold this clip for a few seconds just so you can properly understand my pain. But then you have a whole bunch of questionable or poorly implemented mechanics, like world tendency, item encumbrance, and no limit on the amount of healing items that you can hold. These are arguably core to the Demon Souls experience. However, would the remake be better by adjusting them, or should we accept these quirks as part of what makes Demon Souls Demon Souls? I'll explore that idea a bit more at the end of the video, but for now, let's jump into the 2009 original and discuss what makes this game special. So first off, we got this little tutorial section that teaches you the basics, and it even features a boss at the end that you typically die to on a first playthrough, kind of like Sekiro. However, if you beat this boss, you still need to die for the story to progress, so you get treated to what is possibly my favorite cutscene in all of gaming. It just perfectly sets the tone for the rest of the game. I love it. After getting your bones crushed by the Chad dragon, you wake up in the Nexus. This serves as the hub for the rest of the game. And let me just say, this is my favorite hub in any FromSoft game. The style and tone is just unmatched. I think I like this as much as Miyazaki likes putting barefoot women in his games. Or in other words, quite a bit. After that, you're railroaded onto the first level 1-1, where you should quickly realize that the game doesn't pull any punches with you. For example, you're now in soul form, which means your max health is cut in half. Uh-oh, that's kind of worrying. But anyway, after that level, you're free to complete the levels in any order that you want. This is the first big advantage that I think Demon's Souls has over the rest of the series. Yes, having an interconnected world is great, and I probably prefer that, but there's something to be said for the freedom and replay value that having 5 zones from the start allows for. Now let's talk about bosses and how they're so distinct from the other Souls games. So in all of the Dark Souls games, I feel like 90% of the bosses can be distilled down to fighting a guy who you beat by rolling and hitting R1 enough times. And while I think that's fun, this is contrasted pretty starkly with Demon's Souls' approach. With Demon's Souls, most bosses are kind of like puzzles or have a trick or a gimmick to them that you can take advantage of. For example, the first boss is a nightmare until you realize that it's incredibly weak to fire. Another one is the second boss, whose weak spot is his head, that you can get to by either using ranged attacks or by hitting his ankles enough times for him to fall over. Almost every boss functions like this, and the result is an experience that is stupidly fun and memorable while keeping things fresh. One last thing about bosses that I want to point out is how great the design of the rooms of the bosses is. With Dark Souls, you rarely get a boss room that serves as more than just a flat arena. But with Demon's Souls, you get a variety of rooms with verticality and hazards that change the dynamic of fights. I absolutely love this design approach, and it keeps the bosses from blending together. More than anything else in this game, I sorely miss this design sensibility in later games. Alright, that's enough about bosses. I know why you're really here. You want to hear me talk about mood and atmosphere. Fine, they're great. Demon's Souls, more than any other game in the series, has this incredibly bleak atmosphere that really makes you feel like the world has depression. It's impressive. First, you got areas like the Tower of Latria. It feels hopeless and scary with prisoners wailing in the background while you explore slowly and carefully. Oh fuck, you just got impaled by an octopus man. Then you got the Valley of Defilement, or as I like to call it, Blighttown Alpha. It just feels like this dirty and dark and damp place that brings to mind the word hopeless. Oh no, now you have the plague. Don't worry, there's the fan favorite and memorable Filthy Woman NPC who's nearby and can sell you the cure for the low price of all of your souls. Wonderful. Basically, the tone of Demon's Souls fucking rules, and it's so rare to see any game pull off what Demon's Souls seems to have done so effortlessly. Alright, I know why you guys are really here. You want to hear me talk about the weird shit in this game. The stuff that doesn't quite hit the mark. Okay, well you're gonna like this next section that I'm calling Weird Quirks that the remake might want to address. Let's just go down the list. 1. Item burden. So in addition to the typical equipment burden, you also have to worry about item burden for every item in your inventory. It's worth pointing out that it's really not that high, so you're forced to deposit all of your items after each level, or you risk not being able to pick up loot in the next zone. At best, this is tedious, and at worst, you can potentially miss out on key items if you attempt to pick up something you don't have room for, and then die, which would cause it to despawn. Funnily enough, this exact scenario happened to me on my most recent playthrough with the Storm Ruler of all things. That would have really sucked if I died before making room for it. So long story short, this just shouldn't be in the game at all. 2. Pure Blade Stone. Alright, this one is a huge meme within the Demon's Souls community, but let me fill the rest of you guys in. So Pure Blade Stone is an item that is required for the final weapon upgrade of every weapon for a dexterity build. Now for some reason, FromSoft decided that only one enemy in the game should drop this, and that the odds of it dropping should be something like 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 200. You can imagine how this might not be fun. To make things worse, it turns out that if you have the audacity to increase your luck stat in hopes of increasing your odds, higher luck actually lowers your chances of getting Pure Bladestone by increasing the odds of the less rare drops. If you only knew the despair that 14-year-old me felt with his 99 luck character trying to get the item after hours and hours of farming without having this knowledge. Oh man. 3. Healing with grass. So Dark Souls basically nailed it with the Estus Flask. It's a finite resource that gets refilled automatically at bonfires. Perfect. Demon's Souls kind of shit the bed by allowing you to have 99 of every healing item in the game. Not only that, but some of these healing items will literally refill your entire health bar. This essentially trivializes taking damage in the late game when you'll never run out of healing. I'm not sure exactly how this should be handled, but I think it would be best if healing was limited in some way. Maybe something like a lower limit on healing items with extras being automatically sent to your bank, kind of like Bloodborne. 4. World Tendency. Alright, World Tendency is a very mixed bag, but let me explain how it works first. Essentially, each zone can shift between light and dark, such that it goes toward the light if you defeat bosses, and it goes toward the dark if you die in human form. As it shifts toward the dark, the game becomes objectively harder, with enemies having more health, dealing more damage, and eventually black phantom versions of enemies appearing in levels. So first off, let me just say that the concept of a game getting harder when you die and basically kicking you while you're down is hilarious, and I respect the hell out of Miyazaki for getting this in the game somehow. However, while this sounds interesting on paper, the reality is that you're really only going to shift the world toward pure black if you consume some ephemeral eyes and throw yourself off a cliff 5 or 6 times. This is not exactly mechanically engaging, so I would really like the remaster to potentially change the way shifting toward black or white works. Maybe add more ways to do both? I'm not sure exactly, but its current state is pretty underwhelming and deserves a second look. 5. Magic is a bit much. So I know it's a meme that using magic in a Souls game is easy mode, and to some extent I agree, but it's the most extreme in Demon Souls. You have shit that can one-shot bosses if you have your build right. While I think this is pretty fun, and is more or less an accepted form of jank in the game, I do think it could be toned down just a bit. Feel free to disagree, because I'm not sure myself, but when it comes to balancing, I think the team could potentially consider altering the numbers a bit. Alright, I think that's enough game talk for now, so let's jump back to the remake trailer for a minute. I didn't know where to fit this in, but I wanted to share my analysis of a couple things that are pretty easy to miss. First, we got this snowy mountain, which is notable because Demon Souls doesn't have any snowy zones in it. So my first thought was, could this be the missing 6th zone? For those of you that don't know, this game actually has 6 archstones, but one of them is destroyed so you can't access it. It's cut content. Interestingly, this zone was supposed to be the land of the giants, and I think it had a snow theme as well. So I think you see where I'm going with this. Now this is probably just wishful thinking because the original 2009 cinematic had a similar shot of a snowy mountain, but I can't help but hope since this is a remake and it's certainly possible. Second, this shot of the skeleton is interesting. Now it's a little tough to recognize, but I believe this is the very beginning of the 4th world. However, what's interesting is that the skeleton here is a different enemy type than the one that originally appears in the game. So I'm thinking this could possibly be a hint of enemy locations being moved around in the remake. Again, this might just be wishful thinking on my part, but we'll just have to wait and see. Alright, I think that's gonna do it for me. I have a lot of thoughts on this game, and I could easily go on for quite a while, but I'm gonna stop here so I don't spoil too much. I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts and suggestions for the game. And more than anything, I hope my excitement and passion for this game is evident. A video like this is definitely outside my comfort zone, but I said fuck it and want to share anyway. The bottom line is that I'm incredibly excited for the remake, but the original game is absolutely worth playing still. So that's it, but I'm going to leave you all with my reaction and explanation for why I absolutely love the original 2009 cinematic for the game. I streamed this a little after the PlayStation 5 showcase. Take it easy guys, and check out my Twitter and Twitch in the description if you want to hear more of my thoughts on things like this. I'm going to give you guys a little taste. Real quick, okay? Just give me a second. This is the original cinematic trailer. It came out in 2009. To this day in 2020, June, this still might be my favorite trailer of all time. There's just something so fucking hype about it. Okay, we got the vocals. It's a little eerie, right? A little haunting. Upon Earth is planted an irrevocable poison. A soul-devouring demon. We got the drums. Oh. Wait, what is that? And you're just like, oh fuck. You're like, oh fuck, what is this game? What is this overwhelming fucking giant thing? Demon Souls. Hard cut to the night. The classic. Showing off the gameplay. You hit him with the parry, hit him with their riposte. Listen to this music! Look how good this music is. Okay, then you got this, like, monster vision. The wall explodes. Our character goes fucking flying. Incredible so far. The music gets a little... Okay, this part right here. Listen very closely. Woo! You got the organs, you got the dodge roll. You got the fucking Chad chin. Look at the chin on that guy. Okay, this is where the music gets a little more intense. Got the POV view. Oh, wait, what's that? He has a summon to help him. Okay, this is where the music just goes off the wall. Look at this shit! it's impossible for me to not get hyped hearing this song. Listen to this. It's getting more and more frantic. This camera's spinning. We're getting disoriented. It's climaxing. Oh, wait. Oh, fuck. We got a fucking dragon. And there you go. That's the intro to this game. Genuinely a perfect intro. There's like nothing quite like that for me. I just get so hyped when I see that shit. I love it.